I'd like to do a short review of my work during Collab, as I've felt very mixed during this project. Overall, I'd say that I am happy and proud that we made it as far as we have during our project. And while we had our difficulties, I believe that the game overall is very fun. Everything works. The players can adjust, the modes can switch, and the maps can be different. In terms of work that I did, I feel I feel that I could have done a better job. During the project, I felt that my work was lacking, or at the same time felt challenging for me to work on. I had struggling with a terrible luck with timing, and it caused me to be able to struggle on focusing on work. Now, that isn't to say that I didn't do anything. I am happy with what I did, and I always tried my best to assist my partners in anything that they require assistance with. I would occasionally help some of the art people, such as Libby, in guiding how source control works or how to initially set up this project. I'd help my tech as best as I can with as many problems that they may suffer through. And I also did my own general work. Now, in terms of what is shown in the game, what I did was more sideline based work. For example, the timer game mode, which is important but isn't as obviously important as most of the other people's work. For example, you had Chloe's movement system and Jack's whole pickup system and the general pickups that came with it. Whereas I felt like what I did fell flat, except during the latter half. During the latter half of the project, I managed to have the time to start focusing on things a lot better. And because of that, I managed to do a lot of work. For example, I, of course, during my beginning, did the bumper systems. I helped work on a few power ups as best as I could. And in general, I always tried to improve on my stuff when I felt that it wasn't that great. Other things that I would always try to do is I try giving suggestions to designers for personal things I feel would be better for the game. For example, one aspect of the game that's very important was its camera. I felt that the game would fit more perfectly with a single based camera, which, going off of the final product, I believe worked very well. It's a system where the camera likes to zoom in and out based on how far everyone is located. And I believe that with this camera that I did works perfectly well for the game. There were a few suggestions to make the camera split screen, and while we tested these features, we felt that it didn't quite fit the feel of the game best. As well as how, if we were to do split screen, there'd be problems with how would the player be able to see the game that well? You could make the camera controllable, except that would ruin the point of this being a party game. And I feel strongly that party games normally should just be single cameras. When it came to communicating with the team, I would say that we struggled in a few instances, but overall was surprisingly good. The only issues came about when we had disagreements towards ideas and such, but that is the point of this project, and we'd learn to test each and everyone's opinions to see which one's good, which one's not so worth including, and such, which I felt was a good way to progress. Though we unfortunately came with a stroke of bad luck where one of our tech teammates, being our lead, sadly fell unwell during the project, and because of this, they could not assist as well as they had hoped. Of course, me and the other tech decided to strengthen our bond and work on the project as best as we could, even with these minor inconveniences. Other aspects that I worked on being like the free for alls and victory scenes that detect the podium based on the size, and the speed boosts and such all felt very important to the game to me, and I felt without them the game could be boring in a sense. Though not to say that without them completely it would be boring, because I still believe that Jack's pickup system was definitely a big driving factor towards our game. Overall, if I were to do this again for my senior year, I would definitely strongly try to ensure that my group have a strong idea. And I feel that next time we would also improve on our planning in case we couldn't exactly get the game to how we plan it to look initially. Because I feel that could have been one other slight problem when it came to this project, where I felt that many people had different ideas for the game, and having all these suggestions didn't help and cluttered the idea around. As you probably could see by the confluence, there were probably a lot of ideas that weren't showcased in the game because we planned them and designed ideas for them. Well, the designers designed ideas for them, but wasn't implemented into the game due to time constraints and due to clutter. So again, that's another thing to add towards things that I'd improve on for the future of my project. But I had fun with what I made, and I'm happy with the achievement of being able to develop a game like this. Though, of course, saddened by how we couldn't exactly build the game due to a few issues. Again, I will be writing down a proper, more formal reflection in my post below if you want to read that instead.